My initial reaction is, holy cow. My second reaction is Schwartz the DC or not? That would help me accept it. If he's not, you're going to get an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator off the grid that we haven't been talking about. So let's see how the dust settles. But this indicates that Haslam was never comfortable with Shieldhouse, and he went against the recommendation of his search committee leader and GM. So you got to wonder about the future of Andrew Berry. They chose offense over defense, and they weren't comfortable with Shieldhouse.
So
this is all on Haslam.
And with that, welcome in everybody to the Inside Edge Network and the official first edition of Inside Edge Primetime with Eli Moon and Chad Bryan. Chad Bryan to my far right, your far left. I am on your far left or far right, or however that works. And in the middle between us is our program director. And yes, one of the co-hosts of the Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast, which if you've been tuned in this evening on the Inside Edge Network, you just saw him get off air. It is AA Anthony Alford. And fellas, how are we doing this evening?
I'm going to kick it to you, AA. You tell us first, man. How are you?
I'm good. Yes, this is Inside Edge Prime Time with these two. I'm just a guest here for a little bit. There's a test or something that we have to get into. It's just amazing. We got to play that ESPN Cleveland clip with Tony Grossi and just watch it. I think the funniest thing is just Tony Rizzo's just sitting there just like, again.
Yeah. It's rough. It's rough. And, AA and Chad, we've been trying to make a lot of sense of this. And Chad, we talked earlier today. You sent me a text that you've been doing some digging. You've been looking around and you were able to find some stuff from Berea. The whole big talk was these coaching tests, these personality tests, and all these tests that these potential coaches had to do to get the Cleveland Browns head coaching gig. Todd Monken obviously did the best. And you may have found some of the answers potentially that we could reveal here tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to reveal my source, but I think some of these, when you see these answers, I think you're going to understand why Todd Monken is the guy. And then you're going to realize that the other candidates didn't quite measure up to some of these answers. So I'm just going to cue this up the right way. We need some really dramatic music. Good. Okay. First question. So I told you guys before, I feel like Todd Monken he's a little older. You're looking at Nate Shieldhouse. You're looking at Grant Udinski. I know Udinski pulled himself out of the race. But at the time, Monken, I'm sure, was a little bit intimidated by the fact that I'm in my 60s, right? I got to seem young. Whatever this test is, I'm going to sit down. My answers are going to be with it. They're going to be hip. No, Dr. Evil. I gotta seem young. I can't go up against Nate Shieldhouse and sound like an old man. So let me just bring up the first. I'll do it. Stephen. 2 examples of solids, liquids, and gases, and Monken went with poop, pee, and fart because again, this could have been an age contest. We don't know. He went with the real answer, so he knows what he's talking about there. Ice water and steam is fine, but his first initial thought was poop, pee, and fart.
At least he spelled it correctly.
Exactly, right? And we'll get to that. We'll get to the spelling part of the test in a moment. It's my personal favorite because I love food. I talk about it a lot on the network. I really like to eat. How I don't weigh 400 pounds is a small miracle. Doesn't matter. We'll get to this. Has this sandwich been cut into equal shares? And Coach Monken said no, because the ends are curved. So don't give me the curved ends and call it half the sandwich, right? Cut it down the middle. You take a curve. I'll take a curve. Now, rumors, this is one of the things that got a little bit heated in the building. This may be the reason that Shorts left. They may have tried to give him the curved ends. That may be why Jim Shorts left us. We don't know.
You know what? Monken is actually correct with this question.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not even. It's not equal.
AA.
Not equal
This is why I got the job, AA. This is it.
But that concerns me, Chad. Before we move on, that concerns me a little bit because not everybody on the defense is going to be, equal in terms of their ability. So does that mean he's just going to take the curved ends and toss them away?
If you come up short in the game on Sunday, you get the curved ends on Monday. Do you understand this is where Todd Monken is?
Okay.
And I think Jimmy has
so far. I like it.
Right. Wow.
Go to the next question. You know what? He's passing so far in my book.
He's doing great. Well, listen, there was a lot of talk about an essay question. Maybe the question was, why do you want to be the head coach of the Cleveland Browns? What should be
Where
the
do
next?
you see yourself in 5 years?
Yeah.
Hold on.
The New York Giants.
Hold on.
Uh-oh.
Hey, Mike McDaniel interviewing for the Browns job. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
On the West Coast.
Somewhere warm. I can unpack my capris. Yeah. Sort of unpack my capris, man. Well, anyway, here's the essay question. It had nothing to do with the Cleveland Browns at all. It was write 80 to 100 words. Floor's open. So this is a chance, I think, to look into the genius that is Todd Monken. And this was his answer. This was it. So that's fine. Listen, sometimes you have to do the bare minimum just to get the job done, right? There's not a whole lot of time to prep from Monday to Sunday in the NFL. You gotta be quick about this kind of stuff, right? I thought this was particularly clever. Abraham Lincoln is one of the people that I think a lot of people's answer. If you could have dinner with anybody from history, a lot of people say Abraham Lincoln for some reason, right? The Browns asked if you could talk to Abraham Lincoln, what would you tell him? What would you say to him? And I think this is a good question too, because locker rooms in the NFL are very diverse, right? Abraham Lincoln obviously is credited with a lot of things that really helped the culture of the country back in the 1800s. But Monken went another route when I asked this question. He said, I'll tell him not to go to a play ever.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
It's good advice. It's good advice.
He's not afraid to say the tough things, Chad. Yeah. Wow.
At all.
I like this guy.
I love this guy. And you talk about the bare minimum. This is another example.
No, this is what I call critical thinking. I like this dude.
Yes, this is fantastic. This is great thinking. Write a question using why. And I think they just wanted to see, maybe the philosophical side of Todd Monken. Listen, it meets the requirements. It gets the job done, right? Totally good. Why? He says why. I thought that was great. And this is probably my favorite. Listen, it's cold and flu season here in Northeast Ohio. Everybody's got sinus problems. It's, it feels like 20 below when you wake up. It gets all the way up to a balmy, sometimes 10 or 11 during the day. So the temperatures are fluctuating, right? You got a lot of heat, you got a lot of cold. Things happen, right? You're in there, you're writing all over and something happens. You don't have tissues. Who knows what the Haslam's can afford? We don't know. So there's no tissues in the room. And Monken's just writing. And he had the good sense to give the heads up to whoever's grading these things. I don't know if it could be Andrew Berry, it could be Jimmy Haslam. We don't know. But he said, here, and there's a spot on the page, do not touch is snot. It fell from my nose. So I thought, what a great insight into how the Browns went about this coach search. And Todd Monken had the good sense to say, don't touch my snot, right? You don't want to get sick.
Yeah, well,
it's perfect.
Honestly, Chad, first off, kudos to you for doing the deep dive in to get that type of information. I mean, we haven't seen that anywhere else.
Oh my God, that's so wrong.
Yeah.
Now, the one thing that I'm concerned about is if he's telling people about snot, then clearly he hasn't been in a Cleveland winter game. I mean, does he not remember 2019? You're gonna have, your sinuses are gonna be running at some point.
Yeah.
But perseverance, it seems like Todd Monken, and really just showing the Browns that you what you have is sometimes enough. They gave him the question with why. He puts the question mark. He says, I already have the question. I just need to add to it, which is what the Browns need to do in free agency, what they need to do in the draft. Yeah. And Chad, bravo. I mean,
listen, Myles Garrett's about to answer that question with a because, and he's gonna be out of here. But that's okay. That's fine. We're gonna get over it.
Myles Garrett, where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Wherever Jim Shorts goes.
Yeah, no, for real. And we have Real Talk with Papa Moon here on the Inside Edge Network chiming in. He had some questions. Maybe I don't know if we can really answer this, Papa Moon, but did he use crayons?
No evidence of that. Everything I saw looked like strict number 2 pencil. There might have been a couple of ink pens in there. There were a couple of writing utensil changes for sure. Looked like the paper looked different on some of those. I didn't really check the veracity of some of this information. I'll be honest with you. I didn't vet it. It was so exclusive. I wanted to get it right on air. Wasn't concerned with the accuracy. Just wanted to be fast. You know what I mean? Had to be the first one with this stuff. So,
well, they say if you're not first, then are you really doing your things right? So thank you for getting this so quickly, Chad. But all jokes aside, obviously,
Approved
great,
by
great.
Dora the Explorer.
But it just seems like
backpack.
it just seems like
yes,
no, for real,
yes,
for real.
Yes.
And
I'm sorry,
fella, oh, you're good. And fellas, like, I mean, Double A, I know you're first off, thanks for joining us here for this seems like our never-ending Browns coverage here on Todd Monken. As more info just continues to leak. But obviously we talked about Todd Monken yesterday, and Double A, I do want to get your thoughts here too as you're joining us. Just a reminder, after the break, when we do pause and let Double A get to the rest of his evening, because he's a busy guy, we are going to come back and talk about the Cavaliers and Jaylon Tyson. He made some news about the greatest Cavalier of all time, LeBron James, after the Cavs won 129-99 yesterday. Talk about that, but Double A, let's stay Browns focused here for a moment, okay?
Yeah, Clutch said, not so fast, young man.
Hold on.
Sure did. Do you feel, Double A, any better now that it's been about a day, a little bit over 24 hours, that Todd Monken's been the head coach of the Cleveland Browns? Do you feel any better? Because it seems like the mood, and Chad, I'll ask you this too. It's like, but guys, it seems like the mood is kind of chilled a little bit once you start looking at the actual X's and O's. Was it a lot of just us as Browns fans feeling like they're just going to mess it up no matter who they announce? Do you feel any better?
I actually feel a lot better.
Okay.
Like a lot better. I think we got so tied into. Listen, you get tied into who picked them, right? Jimmy Haslam. You get tied into the process. The process, we were led to believe what they wanted to do, and then the rug was pulled under, and that's that. And then you hear idiots like Emmanuel Alcho today. He's like, yeah, so Shador, basically don't listen to this guy. Like
yeah.
Freaking idiot. But no, I mean, Eli, we talked about the ranks yesterday, especially who we brought in with the offensive line. So you got an offensive guy who's able to develop the offense. And that's something that the previous head coach, Kevin Stefanski, did not do. In fact, here's the crazy thing. If I'm not mistaken, Kevin Stefanski, offensive guy, has never had an offense ranked higher than 14th since he has been a head coach or an offensive coordinator. I have to fully check that, but I did see that. So Todd Monken, I know if you want development out of Shador Sanders, you're going to get that. If you want development out of Quinshon Judkins, you're going to get that. The offensive line is going to turn over, and you're going to see development there. So the key is going to be, and I said this before too, maybe having, we should have a young guy as the head coach. No, you need adults in that locker room. If Myles Garrett want to act like that, go. Again, you only won 8 games in the last 2 years. Bye-bye. So, yeah, give me an adult in that room who's going to work with that offense, who's going to run a professional operation, and I think he's going to do that. And the last thing, give me a head coach in Todd Monken who has personality. Somebody who's going to actually talk to the media, who's going to actually communicate what's going on to the fans instead of somebody who's robotic. I like Todd Monken from that standpoint, and I'm taking the emotion out of it. I'm taking out, who hired him and stuff, and I'm ready to get to work. And he understands too that not all slices of a sandwich is equal either. So even that on that test proved to me he is aware of critical thinking and he's ready to go.
That's right. Yeah. Chad, what do you think?
First of all, anybody who understands food, right, is a guy really close to my heart. Okay. So this guy gets food. He gets it. I get him. Okay. Second, as you saw from a lot of those answers, Monken rhymes with not flunking. Okay. So he's doing fine there. He passed the test. Flying colors, in my opinion, according to those answers. There were more. We didn't even get to all of them. Trust me, he passed. He did great. I Double A, I did the same thing. I tried to take all the emotion out of it today. I was watching some videos of just Todd Monken talking talking about offense, just breaking down what he wants in a quarterback and why it's important to have not necessarily a running quarterback, but an athletic quarterback, someone who can move a little bit to help make your offense explosive, right? And all the principles that kind of go into what he, looks for when he's trying to build an offense around a team. We talked about with Ryan Mosser. He's a guy that builds his schemes around the roster as opposed to trying to build a roster around a scheme, which is nearly impossible with contract restrictions and free agency and the salary cap and the draft. You can't get all the guys you want to get. You can't just go recruit guys. It's not like being at Ohio State with a place with a endless open pocketbook or whatever, where you have massive NIL collectives and sponsor whatever. It's not the same, right? You're limited to what you can do with your roster. So I think in that sense, you need a coach that can build a scheme, whether it's offensively, defensively. I think we've seen Jim Schwartz do a pretty good job of scheming to the defense. But the defense is uber talented. It's not super hard to put something together with those guys on the field. The offense is where we struggle a little bit, right? Like I told you, the offensive line needs a complete overhaul. You got to improve a lot in the wide receiver room. We have massive questions in the quarterback room. Really, we don't know exactly what we have. The running back room is different because you've got Quinshon Judkins coming back from injury. I mean, he looked like he was going to be the guy. It kind of tapered off. Some of that's probably the offensive line. You stop getting pushed off the ball, and suddenly there's nowhere to go. I don't care who you are. I mean, Barry Sanders found some room, with the Lions back in the day, but I think the list is probably longer of guys who would have been better with a decent offensive line, right? So, yeah, I mean, I was just kind of listening to him talk, and I remembered that when I first got excited about John Harbaugh, stupidly, I was like, hey, if that's, a possibility, Todd Monken's probably coming over here to run the offense. And I remember back in 2019, we had 2,000-yard receivers. We had a 1,500-yard rusher. We had for all the chaos and the dysfunction and, for all the stuff that was going on with Freddie Kitchens and the locker room being divided and whatever, Odell Beckham's dad making YouTube videos, whatever, he probably got more views than I did. I don't care. I'm not bitter about it at all. Go to my YouTube channel. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like I was excited about Monken being here. Go to my YouTube channel. But yeah, it was great. Like our offense was fun to watch, right? Like Freddie Kitchens, hilarious to watch on the sidelines, and the offense moved the ball and they scored a little bit. They had a little trouble getting in the end zone sometimes. Red zone was an issue. I went back and looked at some of the numbers. But whatever, that was 1 year, right? You give the guy the head coaching job, I'm sure they're going to give him at least 2 to 3 seasons to get this right. I mean, Kevin Stefanski got 6. It was he had a weird, I don't know, get some success in the middle there. There was initial success, and it kind of bottomed out at the end. So you can see why he got 6 years. But I would hope they would give Monken at least 3 years to try to build a scheme around whatever roster we're looking at. We don't know. I mean, the offensive line is a complete question mark. Quarterback still could be a question mark. We don't know who we're getting for receivers. David Njoku's probably gone. You're looking at Harold Fannin and a supporting cast behind him. So things are going to change here. And I think, if you're bringing in a guy who's this good at building a scheme around a roster, maybe we have the right guy, right? Maybe.
I'm gonna add one more thing. If those reports with Jim Schwartz is true, that like he's throwing a fit and all that, he needs to go.
Yeah.
And he needs to go because you need a clear locker room leader.
Yeah.
You need a clear, especially because again, the win total doesn't. I hate to keep going back to the win total or the lack of wins, but like that attitude doesn't work when you are lacking wins. I don't care how good things have been. So what you don't want is a locker room where, Myles Garrett is only going to listen to that guy.
Yeah.
Or this player is only going to listen to that guy. And then Shador is going to listen to Monken or any. There has to be a unified leader.
Yep.
And Jim Schwartz, and I get it, is professional and he needs to do what he needs to do. Mm-hmm. But it's one of those things, if he is not happy, and honestly, to be perfectly honest, I don't even know if you keep him anyway. I think you might have to do something. I know he's under contract, but you may have to look at another team and be like, hey, this is what we have here. We got to go in a completely different direction because I think you have a potential for a real power struggle if you have a guy who interviewed twice for the head coaching position, got passed over twice, and he still has to work with the guy who beat him out for the job. And he's allegedly telling people that this is a problem. that he thought he was getting a job, and he's not. Like, this is a disgruntled guy. I personally think Jim Schwartz, I think you're going to have to do away with him. I really do.
Yeah, it gets, to a point where you just wonder what the collateral damage could be for losing Jim Schwartz. Does he take Myles Garrett with him? Does he take Denzel Ward with him? I know Double-A, obviously, you, at this point, it sounds like, if Myles Garrett wants to continue to feel some type of way about what the Browns do, then, it seems like at least Cleveland, a lot of Cleveland shares your sentiment in terms of enough's enough. You're not going to hold the franchise hostage. You haven't done your part either to win games. Granted, you have the sack record, but there's been, like we mentioned yesterday, where the defense had an opportunity to win some football games this past year, and they didn't do it. And that's the biggest thing is like just how much are you going to lose out of that defense? But let's be real, fellas. We talked about it this past football season. It started seeming more and more like it's a rebuild for the Cleveland Browns. They just weren't announcing it. So if that does mean this offseason really launches it, gets rid of Myles Garrett, unfortunately, or Denzel Ward by losing Jim Schwartz, then it would be very unfortunate. It would suck for a moment. We fought for years as Browns fans not to lose Joe Thomas, and that's why even when we were terrible, we were like, you cannot trade Joe Thomas to the Denver Broncos. You just can't. Yeah. If we have to signal the end of a run, good for guys like Garrett and Ward, go out and get a championship, or at least go compete for it, and then the Browns just have to move forward, which is this new core, because Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward are the beginning of that last core, really. This new core, Shedeur Sanders, Harold Fan and Quinshon Judkins on the offensive side, and then defensively, Mason Graham, Carson Schwessinger. Like, it's a new era in Cleveland, and yes, I'd love for Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward to rock out with us. And Denzel, let's be clear, Denzel's not made a stink. At least we haven't seen anything publicly. Myles Garrett, for those that are wondering why we keep bringing him up, first off, he's the star of the team. Secondly, he went to Instagram yesterday and had a very dejected Instagram post after the news of Todd Monken being hired. So, at some point, you just got to be like, okay, we've done as much as a franchise. Yes, the Browns are inept, and they have completely botched this Myles Garrett tenure here and Denzel Ward. But now it's time to worry about the guys moving forward if Myles Garrett truly is done with the Browns. We just can't keep bending over backwards as a franchise. You've gotten to, the most money that we can give you on the defensive side of the football. You have the single-season sack record. Yeah. We try to look out for Myles as much as we can. But this isn't LeBron James, winning NBA championships. This isn't MLB stars that, this isn't Shohei Ohtani where, you add him and you're going to go win the World Series. It's Myles Garrett, yes, maybe on a team like that needs a defensive end, Dallas right now. And he's, wanted to go to the Cowboys, it seemed like back, 10, 11 years ago when he was coming out for the draft. He wanted to go to the Dallas Cowboys. So at the end of the day, yes, will Myles Garrett impact another team? Surely. Mm-hmm. But right now, his impact isn't going to produce to many wins until the Todd Monken offensive experience starts. And that's going to take a year, I think, to implement. This is not going to be pretty the first 5 to 6 games, probably. It may be some learning curves, and there are going to be people calling for a switch at quarterback or this, or calling for Monken's head. We have to remain calm. We had 6 seasons with Kevin Stefanski. We're going to give Todd Monken a half a season to figure all of this out, considering what he was left with from the past regime.
Yeah, it's tough. And the thing with Myles, he can put up a fuss too. He can go on Media Row. He probably will next week. He locked in on a contract. Like, he's ours. Like, that's what it is. Like, adults have to deal with adult stuff. Yeah. And but the thing is, though, and we always talk about it too, we understand there's a thing like vibes, right? Like, to do that publicly, I understand behind closed doors, 32 different locker rooms, anything could happen. Anything could be said privately between teammates and coaches and executives and stuff like that. But to have the free will to do that publicly, that is such a bad look. And again, it's a reflection of a losing locker room. Yeah. It really is. Yeah. It's a reflection of a losing locker room, because if your leader is cool with doing that, like, I just can't see. I can't see Tom Brady if he was playing and Tampa Bay or whoever brought in a coach that he didn't like. Heck, even Belichick. Like that fell apart at the end, supposedly. But I can't see Tom Brady posting a tweet or an Instagram post of dissatisfaction. I can't see other star players do that. And even the ones that do it, they're still winning. So it just blows my mind. So it is what it is. But Miles, you could have left last year and you took the money.
Yeah, Double A. I was more on his side last year when the trade request went down or the trade demand went down. I think we all were. We all got it. We all understand. He's frustrated, right? But this feels different. This feels like I saw another thing I wanted to address too. Was you mentioned that it's always the Browns with the information, whatever information is getting out, right? Things are getting out of Berea, and I've seen people online today blaming the media. You can't blame the media. There's definitely a way to keep all this stuff in house, right? Like doors close. You don't have to let the media in on these things. You don't have to. I mean,
yeah, the media. I'm sorry, Chad. Real quick.
It's okay.
Who in the media said, "Hey, I need you to hit publish right here. Right. I need you to hit publish right here. Hit it." Like, right. No, that was from Myles Garrett. That was from his Instagram, just like Baker.
Right.
With his tweet. Nobody told Baker to tweet at Stefanski. He did that.
Yep. And it just seems to be a common problem with these guys that come out of Berea. I mean, once they've been, it's like, again, the free reign to say whatever publicly when, sports have famously, you keep things in the locker room, right? You keep things in the family, you keep things in the house. I'm just surprised. Some people blame Kevin Stefanski. He was the one leaking the information. It's his agent. He's gone, right? Like it wasn't him. So who is it in the building? I mean, I wired and Myles Garrett, obviously that's different. You post it on Instagram, it's out there. But I mean, how did Jim Schwartz get so loud to the point where, that the media knew about it? I mean, that everyone was reporting on. I mean, there were ways to go about that. He could have expressed his displeasure and it didn't have to be public. I mean, I think he could have gone to Jimmy Haslam and Andrew Berea and explained how he felt. And it would have had the same impact as, going to the media or calling somebody, text it, whatever. I don't know what he did. I don't know how it got out. But the point is, it's just things always come out of Berea, right? Coming out of Berea. Other teams, we don't see this stuff. Sometimes it happens, but I mean, it's always something leaking out of Berea. It's frustrating.
And I want to make clear to Chad and Eli, because I think I think what Chad just brought up is huge. Mm-hmm. Because when we started hearing about Jim Schwartz being frustrated about things, that was a national reporter. Like, you can't go and blame, my good friend Daryl Ryder. You can't blame Mary Kay or anybody like that. Like, our local reporters, I get it. People get annoyed with our local reporters at times. They're not going out of their way to seek bad news.
No.
They're not. Like, when Jim Schwartz was frustrated, reportedly, that was leaked out to national media. Mm-hmm. So that was stuff coming from Berea to national reporters. They completely bypassed the local media.
Yep.
Yeah.
That wasn't Daryl Ryder with his ear on a door. You know what I mean? Going with the glass.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah. It gets interesting, fellas. And, hopefully you wonder, with Todd Monken, you wonder the guy who also we talk about, like, rumors and things getting out or whatever. Todd Monken was on the field back in 2019 telling players and teams and coaching staffs how bad the Browns were. You would hope things have changed in 7 years and Freddie Kitchens not lurking over you as the head coach. You would hope things have changed. Yeah. But that is still something to be a little bit fearful, I'd say, still, if you're the Browns organization. You have struggled to keep information in-house, and now you're bringing in a guy who's already showed you he can be loose-lipped when it comes to when things aren't going the right way. That's a little worrisome.
Worrisome is the exact word I just said at the same time. Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why what makes this tricky, as much as I actually like Todd Monken just as a candidate, just as the guy that's being hired, I don't like the situation that he's involved in. I don't like the fact that Andrew Berea is still the general manager. I don't like the operations. I don't like the fact that apparently this was not Andrew Berea's guy. Yeah. And I'm very curious to see, gentlemen, and we'll have coverage, obviously, and you guys will be on top of it. I'm very curious to see the body language of Todd Monken, Andrew Berry, and Jimmy Haslam when they do their introductory press conference next week. I am very curious.
Hey, there's a reason the Guardians went first with Jose Ramirez.
Uh-huh.
I mean, there's a reason.
Like, that's gonna and Eli, you know this. Like,
Yep.
reading the room, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just is everyone, yeah, they could say they're in lockstep, and maybe we won't get a ton of quotes, but it's the body language, it's the tone, it's the, all right, who is actually in charge? Is Todd Monken actually going to report to Andrew Berry, or are they partners? And even if you do have the alignment of this person's going to go to that person and that, do you trust Jimmy Haslam to just step in and say, screw this whole process, I'm making whatever pick that needs to be made?
Yeah. Yeah. And, I'll pivot back to you guys for some final thoughts on this before we get Double A back to his regularly scheduled program for the rest of his evening. But yeah, Double A, it's going to be interesting. Yes, body language is super important, but one thing is for certain, the Browns are kings of winning the press conference. The introductory press conference, I can't think of many they've lost. So it's going to take a lot for the Browns fans to buy into, okay, after all, all the shine of this thing is done, and it's September and it's October, how are we going to look? But I do agree with you. Yes, it is important from the side of Jimmy and D and Andrew Berry and Todd Monken. Are we going to get the feel that Pittsburgh got with Mike McCarthy, where he's in tears talking about his favorite team, and he's rubbing his hands together? I mean, he is GIF and meme media mania right now is Mike McCarthy. But you saw how excited he was to be there. Yes, it's not going to ultimately lead to 10 to 11 wins if they have a great press conference and it looks like everybody's on the same page, but it'll at least start to slowly but surely get rid of the word dysfunction in the Cleveland Browns building, because that is the biggest thing that has haunted them since Jimmy Haslam has taken over as owner.
Yeah.
So
Hey, he takes
And you got to win.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to win. And and the thing, I'll just say this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to get this out too. Mary Kay was one of the only ones who kept mentioning Todd Monken.
Yeah.
Todd Monken. So I do want to give her props.
And people were mad at her.
Yeah.
I mean,
people were pissed. Like, yeah, she's reporting what she's seeing.
Yeah. Yeah,
and she was right.
The coach, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And she was right. And I think ultimately, yeah, I guess you guys are right about the alignment. I want to hear their plans for Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah.
And don't shoot the messenger here. I want to hear what their plans are with Deshaun Watson.
Hey, you made me think of something, Double A. You made me think of something. What if everybody else came in and said, hey, we got to find the quarterback. We got to find the quarterback. And all of a sudden Jimmy Haslam's like, well, I'm not comfortable doing that. I've been pretty bad, right? But you've got a couple of guys on your roster that have shown flashes, in the past, in the recent future, whatever. What if Monken came in and said, hey, I can work with Shedeur Sanders. You want to give me Deshaun Watson? I can work with him. You want to give me Dylan Gabriel? I can work with Shedeur Sanders. I mean, it could have been that type of a situation. I can work with what you have on the roster right now, where everybody else came in and said, hey, when we find the quarterback, we're going to get rolling. And it just might have been like, hey, this guy he can work with what's here. Let's go with this guy. All of a sudden, I don't see much of a problem with it. I mean, like the Schwartz thing, that stinks, man. I don't want to see that unrest or whatever, but maybe they can reel him back in. Maybe they can get him on board. But I think, like you said, Double A, he's got to go now. The public, the kind of, it was a tantrum. Let's be honest. Like, you can't reel that back in. That happened, right? Now there's that discord between these two, and I think he's in a situation where no matter what happens, he has to go now.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Eli. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I'm just agreeing. With what we've been talking about here, Double A, and I want to get your final thoughts on this Brown situation. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's if Schwartz and Miles and whoever is causing a stink and causing disruption, then it's clear that the Browns need to just eliminate the noise in terms of getting them out of the building. Like it's tough, and Double, you talked about like with music and obviously us here broadcasting InsideEdge Network, the way we've gotten to our positions we've gotten to and like continue to elevate is by making tough decisions. And unfortunately, talent doesn't always make for the best recipe for success in all cases. I know that sounds silly to some, but it's all about cohesiveness and working together. Yes, you need talent, you need some superstars, but you also don't need them throwing a tantrum every time it doesn't go their way. And that's what we're also seeing a little bit. I know it got everybody fired up in Cleveland when Jim Schwartz was basically breaking windows, it sounded like, in Berea. But you gotta look at it.
The parking lot fast enough, like throwing boxes out, right?
I mean, at some point you gotta look at it and go, like Double A you said earlier, is this who you want leading the football team? Because what happens if they trade the quarterback that Jim Schwartz wanted to rock with, or they traded a guy on defense and he throws a fit and then he completely checks out offensively, and then we're back in the same spot another year later.
Yeah.
My last thing on this, what's your guys' opinion on Carson Beck?
Oh no. I mean,
I'm only asking because as of right now, and we can't wait to hear what Ryan has to say coming up later next month.
Yeah.
With the draft board, I don't think he'll be in the first. He's not going to be in the first round, but he's projected right now mid-round pick, rounds 2 through 4, according to AI.
Is that Allen Iverson? What does he have to do with this?
I'm telling you, Allen Iverson is an elite internet developer, and
he didn't even have to practice.
He's been you took it from me.
Gotcha.
I hate the fact now that AI is not known for Allen Iverson. That is like the biggest travesty of our civilization. But no, I was going to say about Carson Beck. Yes. Todd Monken has experience working with Beck back in Georgia. He was offensive coordinator when Carson Beck was there. And Carson Beck has had plenty of experience because he has not attended class in like 2 or 3 years. So,
yeah, gonna be interesting. The UCL injury, obviously, he came back from, had a great year at the U. Ends with an interception there, but yeah, I mean, maybe he makes his way to Cleveland. We'll see. Double A. We appreciate you joining us rather, and hopefully tuning in for the last half hour or so. I know you got some stuff to take care of, but have no fear, Inside Edge Network family. We are going to come back here after the break, Chad, Bryan, and I. We are going to break down Jaylon Tyson's comments right after the Cavaliers' 129-99 win over the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron, Bronny, Luka all in town. There's some discussions about the court, too. Maybe the Cavs need to look into the court design. JJ Redick not too happy after the game, the Lakers head coach. We'll talk about all that, and what does it mean to be a superstar? Do you have to stay in your hometown or the team that drafted you your entire career, even if you win a championship? Or will they bash your name if you decide to go somewhere else? Chad and I will talk about that. Again, thank you to Double A Anthony Alford, our program director of the Inside Edge Network. If you missed Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast right before us, go check it out on the YouTube on Inside Edge Network and Side Hustle Wrestling Podcast YouTube. They break down the Royal Rumble winners for the men and women's matches. So if you need to know who the favorites are, go ahead.
And apparently Jimmy Haslam has a match.
Oh no. Well, we'll keep an eye on all of that. Yeah, Jim Schwartz. Triple threat match. And Monken's the special guest referee. Here we go.
Run the defense. You understand? That's what
you guys got to get the sound. You got to load in Luka talking about that court.
Okay.
Yeah.
Get the uncensored. We're on the internet. Get the uncensored.
All right.
We will have Luka Doncic talking after this. We'll have Jaylon Tyson, his comments as well. Again, thanks to Double A Anthony Alford. We're going to let him get to the rest of his evening. Go ahead and give him a follow to Anthony Alford 92. Follow the Inside Edge network at Inside Edge Net. And Chad and I will be back. We'll break down Jaylon Tyson, the Cavs, the Lakers, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Back after this.
and certainly this could be potentially LeBron's last game in this building. How would you characterize his impact on this city and franchise? Well, you could say something too.
This is Donovan Mitchell city now. This is Donovan Mitchell city now. When he come back here, we're going to make sure that everybody root for him like they did for him. So this is his stuff. This is his city.
Yes, sir, Jaylon. Donovan, do you have any thoughts on both?
As much as I appreciate that, at the end of the day, he's laid the foundation, right? Like, they've done a lot for the city being from here. Obviously we want to replicate that, you know what I'm saying? So he deserves the energy that he's got here. At the end of the day, first title in 50-something years. For us, we're trying to do it obviously differently, but like at the end of the day, we're trying to find ways to go out there and bring a city another championship. But when you have support like that, from your teammates, man, it means the world.
Yeah, it's certainly a great connection between you guys right now and this team right now. Donovan, congratulations.
Yes, sir, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mike?
All right, George, Donovan Mitchell.
And welcome back, everybody, to Inside Edge Primetime with Eli Moon and Chad Bryan. Chad Bryan to my right, your left. I'm Eli Moon. We had AA Anthony Alford joining us that first segment. Thank you again to AA, our program director, and going over some information here with us. With the Browns, Todd Monken, some breaking news. Not really breaking news, but some stuff out of Berea. Had some fun there, that opening segment, Chad, and always good to have AA on.
Yeah, always.
So,
That's here.
Absolutely. I agree. And obviously ESPN with that clip there, that is courtesy of ESPN as post-game after the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Los Angeles Lakers did battle yesterday. Cavaliers on top, 129-99. Leading the way was Donovan Mitchell for the Cavaliers with 25 points. Luka Doncic had 29 for the Lakers, led the Lakers in scoring. And Bronny James in 8 minutes had 8 points in cleanup duty. So a lot to keep an eye on. LeBron with 11 points yesterday. Clearly frustrated at different points of the game. But obviously the big talk was after the game, Chad. And second-year player for the Cavaliers, Jaylon Tyson, first-round pick, who's really worked his way into the lineup. Jaylon Tyson has really developed into a starting piece for the Cavaliers team. We talk about the core four all the time, but seems like Jaylon Tyson is starting to make his way into the fold here as a core four, or a core member rather. And with the core four maybe having a shakeup here soon, we'll see what that means for Jaylon Tyson. However, we heard the clip. He asked to have a word before Donovan spoke and said that this is Donovan Mitchell's city now. When Donovan was being asked about what this means for LeBron, potentially his last time in Cleveland. We went over the reports yesterday with McMiniman and LeBron, during our coverage of the Todd Monken hiring for the Browns. And we went over, that LeBron, or the Cavaliers at least, would be gladly open to bringing LeBron back, whether it means at the NBA trade deadline, Brian Windhorst mentioned that. ESPN's Brian Windhorst mentioned that there's a path with the Cavs being active. And, maybe if not offseason, maybe bring LeBron back, which would be really interesting. Comments like this, though, may not make it as nice for LeBron to come back. And Jaylon Tyson caught a lot of heat from the NBA world for saying this. Was it that big of a deal, or was he just showing love to the guy who, Jaylon Tyson, this is the guy who came and sat next to Donovan Mitchell on the plane early on, in the season, asking to learn from him, to study, and Donovan taking him under his wing. And I mean, is this just Jaylon Tyson showing love to his mentor in the Cavaliers, or is this a problem? And maybe the Cavaliers shouldn't have drawn national headlines when they're not playing as well as they did last year. They are playing better as of late, but Chad, what are your thoughts?
Well, I mean, is it a big deal? Yes and no. I mean, it's a big deal because you saw there were public messages delivered from at least Kyrie Irving and Tristan Thompson that I saw, and I don't think that's anything more than just hey, you got to know what came before you, right? You have to be aware. When LeBron was here, he talked extensively. He was always his basketball IQ, not just on the floor, was through the roof, right? Like he understood the guys that came before him, the guys that, like Donovan Mitchell said there, laid the foundation. And by the way, what an excellent pivot from Donovan Mitchell, right? To kind of smooth it out a little bit. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I understand him taking a little bit of heat. Jaylon Tyson he got excited, right? And yeah, I think he is just showing some love to Donovan Mitchell. It's like, hey, this is us. Like, we're in the locker room now. Let's talk about us now, right? I get that mindset, but I also get the mindset. I do think it's important, especially, it seems to be in NBA circles to really be cognizant of those who came before you, those who laid that framework for you to keep building on, right? Like, You can't build onto a house that doesn't have strong bones, right? Like you're going to add a room for Jaylon Tyson and Donovan Mitchell. It's got to be on the foundation that LeBron James and Mark Price and Craig Elo and those guys before him laid down, right? So I think it's I mean, you want to be aware of that. I don't have a problem with him being excited about Donovan Mitchell and about the right now. That's okay. And I think in time you'll see him probably mature. I didn't think it was like egregious. It didn't seem like it wasn't inflammatory. It wasn't like anything terrible that he said. He's just excited about what's going on right now in the locker room. Like you said, they're starting to play a little better as of late. They're probably starting to feel each other a little bit, getting in the flow, playing better. That stuff gets exciting. You want to try to create some buzz, even if it's just for yourselves in the locker room every night. The NBA is a long season. People I think sometimes don't consider the toll that it takes to travel in the winter in cold NBA cities, right? Snow and ice, and it's just harder to move. I don't care if you're a premier athlete or me, 46-year-old man who likes to, it doesn't matter. Sometimes it's harder to move in the winter, right? You wake up and things hurt, man. That didn't hurt 5 months ago when it was fall.
Yeah. Oh, we may have lost Chad here for a moment.
Maybe that's just older. I don't know. The winter's tough, the schedule of things with the NBA. Listen, man, Jaylon Tyson just got excited. I have no problem with it. I think the guys in that locker room, the veterans in that locker room will make sure that he, in the future, probably addresses those who came before him a little bit better, a little bit more smoothly or whatever. But I didn't have a huge problem with it. It was okay, right?
Yeah, I don't think it was that big of a deal. He's not here in Cleveland. We kind of like the dog that we have with Jaylon Tyson. Like, that's a big rave about him. And yeah, I mean, Donovan or somebody had to have had a conversation with him because when we went up to the podium after the game, and spoke, he mentioned that he didn't mean any disrespect to LeBron. He's one of the best players of all time. And, he was a Cavaliers fan growing up. So, and because of LeBron, primarily, so he didn't intend any disrespect. He just kind of wanted to give his love to Donovan, who has stepped up as a star. The Cavaliers have been lacking a star after LeBron and Kyrie departure and Kevin Love kind of just checking out, and I can understand from Kevin Love, looking back on that, I can understand why he was defeated with the overture of the Cavaliers roster. But Donovan has stepped up. He's become that guy. And it seems to be mentoring these young guys real well because Tyson definitely backtracked just a little bit to make sure there wasn't enough, too much heat on the Cavaliers. So that was interesting. Cavaliers 29-20 now. They are in lockstep with the Toronto Raptors. They are 2 games back of the New York Knicks for the 2nd seed in the Eastern Conference. Crazy how a month goes and Cavaliers talk about play-in, now potentially talk about the 2nd seed. Now, they are only a few games back from, the Miami Heat could really jump into the top 6-5 spot, and the Cavs could be back in the play-in. So keep an eye on that. But, Chad, I don't know if you saw this too, but, AA had alluded to it. The Lakers played, obviously, in Cleveland last night. For those that don't really understand the logistics of the Cleveland Cavaliers stadium or arena, I covered the Cavaliers. I also covered the Cleveland Monsters back in, 2016, right? And then all the way to 2018, right? So I did that coverage. And for those that don't know, they share the arena. The Monsters, the AHL hockey team here in Cleveland, and then the Cavaliers. So what happens is they'll have the ice down for a hockey game, and it'll happen sometimes when they're playing the same day even, where you'll watch it. I've watched it transform from a hockey rink to the Cavaliers arena where they have the floor elevated a little bit off the ground. It is cool. It's very cool. They elevate it off the ground, though. And it can cause for potential injuries or if you're just not paying attention. And the NBA probably wasn't happy to see one of their star players, Luka Doncic, get tripped up, have an ankle injury. Still waiting to hear more on Luka. JJ Redick, the coach of the Lakers, was not happy. Said it's definitely a safety hazard. Looking for an update here. Basically, he avoids serious injury. Like I said, I'm going to hear more, but avoid serious injury. So it doesn't appear like Luka obviously is going to have anything sustaining or long term here, but still not great. As an NBA fan, I do want to just play this. Some fan caught Luka Doncic after he fell, twisted his ankle off the court, and why don't we go ahead and take a listen here?
If you have little league, just caution if you have little leaguers near. That's all I was going to say. Oh, you're on mute, buddy.
I was like, why can't I hear myself? Yes, it is not safe for work. Probably not safe for the fam right now. So if you're, Good call, Chad. All right, here we go. Luka Doncic, 10-second clip here, guys.
First, Team second. What the fuck makes this ball, goddammit? Fuck.
Good call, Chad, with the not safe for work title there. But
yeah, not happy there. I mean, understandably so.
I mean, and we got a tweet here, from The Athletic, right? After Luka Doncic fell off the side of Cleveland's court, which is about 10 inches above the rubber mat covering the hockey rink inside Rocket Arena, the NBA and Cavaliers will meet to discuss changes. So this has been a thing, for a while, though, Cavs and Monsters having this. So this isn't something new. It just appears that when arguably your top star in the league, Luka, at least top 3, top 5 star in the league, if not the star right now, not ideal when he gets hurt. So obviously that will cause changes. Besides that, let's just talk about the Lakers here, right? Because we could talk about the injury itself. There isn't anything long term with that. The court itself, I guess we'll have to keep an eye on that. I do want your thoughts on that, Chad. But as far as the Lakers, it just seems like there's an issue every day with these guys. Whether it's who's taking the last shot, who's controlling the team. Luka. LeBron defers it to Luka. Then, JJ Redick wants other guys to get involved. And then they had issues earlier with other guys, DeAndre Ayton joining the mix. It just seems like the Lakers constantly have something going on. This is after the Jeannie Buss comments about LeBron should be more appreciative or grateful that they drafted Bronny with one of the last picks in the second round. I just don't know, Chad. If Jaylon Tyson didn't make those comments he did yesterday, I know he walked it back. It seems like LeBron would have probably maybe been out the door after last night and just said, hey, go ahead and start making my jerseys. I'm going to ask for a trade tonight. It seems like it's a mess. What's going on with the Lakers? Do you have any thoughts on that? Because they have just had a whirlwind of a season.
I don't know. It's not the Staples Center is it anymore. It's like the crypto.com arena. I was going to say, are you telling me that there's dysfunction in the crypto.com arena? Jimmy Haslam takes offense to that. He doesn't agree. No, I don't know. It does seem like it's something, but it's the Lakers, right? It's LA. It's like, I think back when I was a kid, the Showtime Lakers, like Magic Johnson. It was just, James Worthy. There was always something going on. These guys they're like movie stars, right? So I think some of the stuff is going to creep out into the media as well. A little more understandable coming out of LA than it is coming out of Berea, that things would get out and things would be said, Jeannie Buss throwing LeBron under the bus, whatever. Not the way I meant it to come out, but yeah, that happened. Can't retract that now, but yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's just is what it is. But yeah, I don't know. It does seem like it's always something. Do they need a change of scenery? Are these rumors coming from? Are the Lakers done with the LeBron show? They're not really any closer to a title now than they were. Well, they're not playing bad, but they're not really any closer. You don't look at the Lakers and go, oh well, they're dominant like they were, the COVID year. They're going to win another title. I think there's plenty of better teams in the West that you could probably point at that would be favored first. I don't know. Would they just move on from LeBron for a second round pick or something? You can't have the Cavs giving up assets. You can't. It can't be Evan Mobley in a first round pick in 2027 and 2028 or whatever. We're not doing that anymore for LeBron. That ship has sailed, right?
Yes.
So part of me says, listen, if you don't have to give up very much, the Cavs have toyed with moving Jared Allen. If Jared Allen is a guy that the Lakers have identified that can help in any way, maybe, Jared Allen and something else, whatever, you make the money match. NBA trades are weird to me. Maybe that works. Otherwise, I think, if you're asking me about LeBron coming back here as well, I keep thinking about that. Maybe you just wait until the offseason. If he wants to come back and finish his career here, I have no problem with that. I just don't want to see the Cavs give up a ton of assets because it kind of feels like the Lakers are a little bit done with him, right? He's 41 years old. He's playing great. 22, 6, and 6 is crazy at 41 years old. I tried to play in a recreational basketball league at 38 or 39, and my 2 games in, my ankles were like, no, right? Immediately, they just said, no, we're not doing this. Granted, I don't have the money to put into my body that LeBron does. I haven't, there isn't that sustained care level or whatever, but still, I'm telling you, it's not an easy thing to go out there on the hardwood every night, in your late 30s, early 40s, and and just do as much damage to your body as he's done over his entire career. He's played in the NBA for half my life, basically. Yeah. He's been there for almost half my life. That's wild. So I don't know. Are they ready to move on? Then yeah, you don't want to overspend for him, right? You just maybe want to wait. Maybe he comes here in the offseason. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with the Lakers to answer your question. It's just sort of feels a little Browns-esque, right? Kind of gives you Berea vibes.
Yeah, and you wonder, just ultimately, like LeBron, when it's all said and done, we talked about it kind of yesterday during our coverage. When is LeBron going to kind of get the respect? It seems like he doesn't get the respect while he's playing, and it's unfortunate because when he does decide to retire, I think a lot of people are going to miss having him in the league. There's people out there say, "Well, we won't miss LeBron. The young guys are taking over." There's a reason LeBron James is still in the league.
Yeah,
because the league's also scared of what happens when he leaves. Because, thank goodness for guys like Luka and Anthony Edwards and SGA, or the league could be in a bad spot. Now, the NBA has always been good about finding the next star for the most part, but obviously LeBron's still integral to that, into the league. And the Lakers themselves, we talk about, a tumultuous season just because they're always in the news. They are 28-18. However, they're literally a game back or a game ahead from falling back into the play-in. So it's kind of the same situation in the East and West right now. Very tight standings. And we'll have to keep an eye on that. Maybe if LeBron does come back, we get Bronny.
Hey, there you go.
So we'll keep an eye on that too. Keep an eye on that too. Bronny do a dunk down yesterday, and Cleveland went wild. They were actually calling for him, and I love it. And they had the the welcome back LeBron with him holding the championship, and then in Bronny's locker they said welcome back Bronny, and it was Bronny. It was him as young Bronny.
In 2016, holding the trophy. That was really cool.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. Yeah. Here's what we're going to do, Chad. We're going to take a quick pause. We're going to let everybody grab a quick refreshment, let everybody get situated. We're going to come back with our final thoughts. I've been teasing this the whole show. I talked a little bit yesterday. I know you had to skedaddle for a moment, so I really want to open the floor to you more so with this. Okay. And then I'm going to add some additional thoughts. But Giannis Antetokounmpo, we talked about yesterday at the end of the show. We talked about, is a superstar's legacy tricky, and do we judge these superstars differently? Is there different criteria when it comes to LeBron, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, and others?
Yeah.
And when is it okay to ask for a trade if you are the leading star and it seems that era of championship basketball is over, like it is in Milwaukee right now?
Yeah.
We'll talk about all that, Chad. Everybody out there, thank you so much for tuning in on the Inside Edge Network. This is Inside Edge PrimeTime. That's Chad Bryan. I'm Eli Moon. When we come back, we'll discuss the life of a superstar in the NBA, and then we'll say our final remarks and get you out of here. See you after the break. And welcome back to the Inside Edge Network. This is Inside Edge Primetime. That's Chad Bryan. To my right, your left, I'm Eli Moon. And we have one final segment here to go over with you. A reminder, we will be back tomorrow for another hour. Just a programming reminder that Inside Edge Primetime will be with you pretty much at least for an hour every night. If there are some groundbreaking news stories or things we need to get deeper into coverage on, you might get an extended hour and 2-hour primetime special. But we're going to definitely at least do an hour every night. Weekdays, Monday through Friday, Chad Bryan and I, Eli Moon, and we'll probably have some special guests from the network, and we'll bring some other guests as well in and make this fun for everybody. Even though I know Chad and I are pretty fun, I know you guys would like to see, guys and girls out there would like to see the other people as well. So we are gonna get into one final segment here, one final discussion, kind of calling these final remarks, like final thoughts, like the final discussion of the night, Chad. And this is what I want to leave the people with. Okay, is ultimately, Giannis Antetokounmpo has been the discussion of the NBA world this entire last season. That has been going on this current season, the entire last season.
Yeah.
That his time in Milwaukee might be coming to an end. ESPN's Shams Charania had reported that Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks are open to trade discussions. This means before the deadline, and he's looking to move to another team. Neither team or Giannis trying to, that being the Bucks or Giannis trying to be the bad guy. They're trying to handle this civilly. Hey, we're just going to move and do what we got to do. Giannis bringing an NBA championship to Milwaukee, an NBA Finals MVP. He's brought an MVP. Has an MVP to his name. Giannis obviously has made a big impact on Milwaukee. He's homegrown as far as his first NBA opportunity was as one of the last guys on the bench in Milwaukee. He's made his way to being the first guy mentioned when you talk about the Milwaukee Bucks in the 2000s and on. I guess my question necessarily isn't more so about where Giannis should go. We could talk about that. We'll have time tomorrow to discuss, and next week I don't think it's going to happen in the next day or two. And if it does, then my bad, Chad. But really my discussion for tonight is what I kind of talked about last night when we wrapped up the show. And I want to get your thoughts on this. When we talk about NBA superstars, we talk about LeBron James, we talk about Kevin Durant, we talk about Giannis Antetokounmpo now. We talk about these stars that are disgruntled or just want a change of scenery.
Mm-hmm.
They always seem to be looked at differently. LeBron, when he left from Miami, Cleveland was up in arms. They were obviously frustrated here. Fans here in Cleveland frustrated. He came back. He won the championship here in Cleveland, so it makes the third return look exciting. And Cleveland fans are open to that. Mm-hmm. When you look at Kevin Durant, he goes to the team that he lost to the year before, wins the multiple championships. And I don't know if NBA fans look at him the same because of that, even though he has multiple championships to his name. Mm-hmm. Now you look at Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chad, and that's where it brings us to here. Yep. Giannis Antetokounmpo, he has not really been outspoken. Even during this, he hasn't been, mad at the Milwaukee Bucks. He seems he's finally spoken up, though, and said he wants out. Mm-hmm. So if he does get traded, which seems pretty inevitable, how should the Milwaukee fans and how should the NBA world look at Giannis Antetokounmpo? And is there a different criteria when it comes to judging or criticizing or analyzing these NBA superstars and their decisions when it comes to their legacy?
Yeah, well, it's a loaded question. If you are watching from Milwaukee, I am not going to tell you how you should look at Giannis. But I will say this. I think that oftentimes, guys leave. It's so rare for a guy to spend his entire career with one team anymore, across any of the major sports, really, right? Guys leave all the time. And we celebrate Jose Ramirez here in Cleveland for, he signed the 7-year, I think $175 million extension. We talk about the discount, that he took to stay here. Because let's be honest, he could have let that contract run out and probably gotten, 5-6 years, $300 million in LA or in New York, one of the New Yorks. Well, there's only one New York, but the Yankees and the Mets, he could have gone anywhere and been an asset. He's whatever. But you look at Giannis, like you said, won an MVP, won back-to-back MVPs, actually, 18, 19, 19, 20. Since then, hasn't floated out of the top 5 in the MVP voting. pretty consistently at that 28, 10, and 6 mark, pretty much for his career. That's where he's at this year. We'll call it 5.5, whatever. It doesn't matter, 5.5 assists. He's a solid player. Brought Milwaukee a championship. I think if you're a Milwaukee fan, if I'm a Milwaukee, like I said, I'm not going to tell you how to look at him in Milwaukee. If I'm a Milwaukee Bucks fan, I look at Giannis as I'm very thankful. He's spent the time that he has with my franchise, my favorite NBA team. If he wants to move on, listen, there's not much you can do about it, right? I mean, it doesn't matter how many millions of dollars you get paid or what you do. I mean, people look at it, being a professional athlete is a desirable career, right? And you are in the person's body and mind, and things get bad. And things get bad for any reason, right? Maybe you don't like the city. Maybe you don't like the media. Maybe something happens with the front office, right? And you feel disrespected. You feel not a priority, whatever. I mean, haven't you ever had that happen at a job? Like a lot of the people that judge these guys for wanting to move on have had 5, 10, 15 jobs in their lifetimes, and they've moved on for probably more petty reasons. I know I have than, not being, I don't know, the top paid guy in the league or whatever. I don't know. I'm not going to get into Giannis's exact reasons. I just, sometimes it's just time to go and you feel it, right? You just know it. I don't think that makes you a bad person. But then you transition to what Kevin Durant did. Doesn't make him a bad person. I personally, as an athlete, I played baseball. I played college baseball. I played, 7 years after, whatever. I personally wouldn't go join the team that I was having trouble beating. Like, to me, that's like the ultimate competitor thing. Like, I'm going to get you, right? Like, if it takes the rest of my career, I am going to find a way to eliminate you in the playoffs. Like, if you're my roadblock, I'm not going to come join you and block the road with you. Like, I'm running through the roadblock, right? That's just my mentality. That doesn't make it right or wrong what Kevin Durant did. I think a lot of people disagreed with that. I personally, again, I disagreed with the way he went about that. I thought that in my mind alone, maybe in someone else's mind, it doesn't harm his legacy at all. To me, I thought it was a little bit of maybe a little bit of a knock on him. Like, he doesn't quite have that killer instinct to get Oklahoma City over the hump. So let's go to Golden State, right? It's easier there. I don't know. I haven't really done many things. Things don't really happen the easy way for me in my life. Like, I get it. I've been very blessed. I have privileges that a lot of other people in this world do not have. And I understand and I appreciate that. But at the same time, I've also struggled through things. And you look back and you kind of appreciate the struggle a little bit, right? Like, I don't necessarily just want to hop to the easiest lily pad to stay afloat. I kind of want to figure out how to float on the lily pad that maybe doesn't want to hold me up. That was a really weird reference, but I'm thinking about summer, right? Lily pad, frozen bodies of water. What's that?
Currently in Winter Storm Fern, I think, still to this day. No, but go ahead.
My brain's frozen, but yeah, I don't know. I just think I think those are different things. I think LeBron coming here for 4 years after he was here the first time, taking the Cavs to 4 straight NBA finals, winning a championship. Again, I said it. That's the best run in Cavs history. He's also responsible for, I think, the 3rd best run in Cavs history, which is the first time he was here. Pretty amazing legacy. I think, again, like Giannis in Milwaukee, you have to look at LeBron and say, hey, we appreciate the time that he was with our franchise. It was amazing. I'll even bring Jim Thome into this. I mean, Jim Thome left for whatever, greener pastures. I don't know. I think he had his reasons, and I think it's hard to hold it against these guys. I mean, if someone's offering you more money, I mean, I'll make the I don't know, if you work at a one of the big box department stores, I don't want to say the name, you're making $15-$20 an hour. Let's say you're making $18 an hour. Okay. Right. You're doing some minimal work, whatever. Pretty good. And then someone says, hey, you come do the same job, same shift, same thing. Everything's the same. But we have a little bit better benefits here and there, maybe a better chance to win a championship, right? A little bit better benefits, better this, better that, better package for dental package, and we'll give you $21.50 an hour. I mean, hey, if you're at that point where it's gotten stale for you at the one big box store, maybe you go to the other big box store and you try it out. You don't burn your bridges, so you can always go back, right? And I think that's what Giannis is doing right now. Giannis is leaving one, not so big. Milwaukee's not a huge market, but he's leaving one job for another, and I think he's doing it the right way. He's given us 2 weeks notice. It's going to be longer than 2 weeks, by the way. But he's doing everything the right way, right? He's doing the exit interview. He's doing all the HR paperwork. He's leaving that door open so that there is a possible return one day, and that's okay. Now, I think a lot of it depends on where he goes, right? If he goes and joins I don't know. There's not really like a super team right now where you go, oh, they're the evil empire. If he joins them, that's a weird look. That's bad. I mean, like when Kevin Durant went to Golden State, I don't think that really applies to this time. So I think it all depends on how you leave, where you go, what the current temperature is of, what's the culture in the league, what's happening. There are so many outside factors, but I guess to make a long answer short, once again, I think Giannis is doing it the right way. I think if you're in Milwaukee, you just look at him, you appreciate the way he's handling this. You appreciate the time you've had with him and the franchise. A legitimate, MVP candidate. Every time if he suits up for those 65 games, he's an MVP candidate. So, I don't know. I don't think he's doing anything the wrong way. I think it's time, right? Sometimes it's time to move on. He feels it's time to move on. He's in charge of his own life, his own career. He's allowed to perpetuate that move. And it sounds like the Bucks are open to it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, what's he doing wrong?
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. You think of, like I mentioned, Durant, mentioned LeBron. We're talking about Giannis. Think about Anthony Davis, who has an NBA championship with the Lakers, but clearly made it clear that he wanted to go to Lakers. And ever since then, his legacy and injuries, obviously, and all that, I mean, he's never really had the same luster or respect in the NBA world, it seems like. So just interesting. Yeah, I think it is just a matter of the terms and those things. And Giannis has done everything the right way. And he took a mom and pop shop, basically, to use that same reference, and made them on the same level as a corporate a landscape. When the Bucks, were a team that a lot of teams feared to play in the Eastern Conference. The East ran to Milwaukee for, that year they won the championship. And even other years, they were one of the top 3 teams that were going to make noise in the Eastern Conference. So, yes, I think they should be appreciative of Milwaukee. I'm not telling them how to feel either. I'm right there with you, Chad, because I understand how I felt when LeBron was leaving the first time. And the second time, I was okay a little bit more with it, I guess. Yeah. But it still was like, dang, man.
It hurts, but it's nothing personal, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and, so it is going to be interesting. I think Giannis, wherever he goes, is going to make an impact, whether it's in the Garden at New York, whether it's down South Beach, there, Miami, those. As of yesterday, when we were ending the show, I went over the betting odds from DraftKings. Mm-hmm. Milwaukee was like plus 160 or 180 on DraftKings for the next NBA regular season minute played by Giannis. Okay. And then it was Miami and New York at plus 400. I had to check the current updated odds.
Okay. But Minnesota on that list by any chance?
Minnesota. I did not see them, but I know where you're referencing there with Anthony Edwards being out there, and being a young star. They have Julius Randle.
Yeah. That seems like interesting. Like a fit.
Do you think he wants to go from one cold city to another, though?
I don't think it matters. You adapt quickly, man. It doesn't matter anymore.
True. Now, I'm looking right here, Chad. Giannis Antetokounmpo. This is 10 hours ago, so a little bit more updated. Updated via DraftKings. Milwaukee Bucks plus 120. Miami Heat plus 400. New York Knicks plus 400. Warriors at plus 600. Timberwolves at plus 900.
Okay.
Then you have the Hawks and Raptors both at plus 1,100. Hornets at plus 2,200. Spurs at plus 3,000, tied with the Portland Trailblazers at plus 3,000.
Yeah.
And then even the Rockets, you hear rumors, talk, from national media and whatnot. Not us, we're national media too, but other national media talking about maybe the Rockets should get Giannis Antetokounmpo and put him there with Kevin Durant. We just talked about Durant. That could be interesting.
Yeah.
And, maybe Durant can help him in talking about how it is to leave a team. And maybe if he does face that scrutiny, we'll see what happens there. It's going to be very, very interesting, Chad. But the Bucks, clearly, it seems like their championship window is closed. That contendership window is going to be closed for a little bit. Once they do move on from Giannis, depending who they get. The second apron also makes it tough. I was saying that yesterday.
Yes.
A Giannis trade maybe 4 or 5 years ago, even 2-3 years ago, would have been a lot more interesting in terms of the haul back. What do you get really for Giannis Antetokounmpo now? And is it even a fair trade anymore?
Yeah. Pretty much any of those teams is going to put them right over that threshold. So, I don't know. The NBA, like I said, NBA trades are tough for me. I don't think this gets done by the deadline. I think this is an off-season thing.
Yeah. We'll keep an eye on it. And we're not encouraging anybody to bet. But Chad, look, I'm not telling you to be a betting man, but if you feel he's going to play for the Bucks his next regular season minute, they're the betting favorite. Yeah. So we'll keep an eye on it.
I had money, right?
Yeah, exactly. I'm right there with you, pal. Hey, I'll tell you this. We are gonna put a bow on this thing here in just a few moments. I want to remind everybody again, if you didn't catch Side Hustle Wrestling podcast before us with Kyle Cornell, Anthony, AA Anthony Alford, The fellas went over the Royal Rumble this weekend, Saturday in Saudi Arabia, 2 p.m. here in the Eastern time. So an afternoon Rumble, which is a little odd, but they went over who they think will win the men's and women's Royal Rumble. So if you're a wrestling fan, go check that out. They went on live right before us here on the Inside Edge Network. Very excited. Very excited. I listened in and they gave me some great insight. So now I kind of got a better idea. I've been slacking a little bit recently with my wrestling watching. So I'm excited for that. Again, reminder, Chad Bryan will be on with you Saturday. Before we get further, we're going to go Friday. We'll talk about that in a moment, but we'll be back tomorrow. Saturday, also illegal formation with TK Dandridge. Between that 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. window is when they'll start live, and then they'll run with you from there. And then Sunday, typically the Inside Edge Network's Cleveland Browns and NFL pregame show. Obviously, with the postseason taking a pause before the Super Bowl next week, Chad, TK, and Ryan Bosser are going to do the Sunday Sports Show experiment. And that is at what time are we looking to start that on Sunday, Chad?
I think I'm going to talk to the guys. We're going to try to get started as close to 11 a.m. as possible on Sunday. So it'll be just like the regular season, Cleveland Browns and NFL pregame show on the Inside Edge Network about 11 o'clock.
I love it. So start your morning off with Chad, TK, and Ryan Moss are here in the Inside Edge Network with the Sunday Sports Show. The main event, Robert Zicki, Double Anthony Alford, and myself, Eli Moon, will be going over all of the Pro Bowl action Sunday. We'll be going over some other things as well. I have some important things I want to get off my chest this weekend, some personal stuff. So definitely tune in for that. Just something not sports related that I think is very important to talk about right now, which is everything going on. It's a tough time in the world, whether the weather or you look at outside and you keep seeing snow, or it's just tough. Everybody's going through a lot of stuff. And I think, mental health isn't talked enough about right now. So I'm gonna have a conversation with everybody here on the Inside Edge Network on Sunday. So I'll make sure you tune in for that. But yes, again, Chad Bryan and I will be here Friday, tomorrow, from 10 p.m. to 11 p.m. An hour run again with all of you awesome human beings out there across the world. We are going to go over a lot, including something we didn't get to tonight, Chad. I just don't want to do us a disservice by jumping into this and not really breaking it down. Charles Barkley joined Dan Patrick today, the Dan Patrick Show. He went over the Cavs and that he suggested the Cavs should trade Evan Mobley to the Lakers for LeBron James because, quote, it could be a win-win for both teams. He also mentioned that, quote, right now they're struggling. The Cavs have won 12 of the last 16, 5 in a row. And like we mentioned, they're running towards second place, but is that going to be enough for sustainable playoff success, or do they need to make a move for the Greek Freak? So we'll talk about that tomorrow, Chad. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I know you're going to have a lot of thoughts on that. Evan Mobley is like out of the core. It seems like everybody's the most nervous. I'm nervous to trade Evan Mobley. So we'll have that. We'll have that discussion. I know you're excited about that. We're also going to talk about Bill Belichick and what this means for Hall of Fame voters. You can't have collusion in the Hall of Fame, or it becomes the Hall of the Infamous, or something like that.
Listen, Eli, I cannot wait to go over the list of NFL coaches who have a better playoff winning percentage than Bill Belichick. It's going to surprise you.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm so excited. A lot of great stuff here. If you enjoy the content, and if you enjoy the content in the shows all week, our Cleveland Browns coverage of them hiring former Baltimore Ravens offensive coordinator Todd Monken as our new head coach here in Cleveland, and everything else we break down here. If you love, everything we've talked about, just go ahead and hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button wherever you're at on the Inside Edge Network. Follow us on all the socials, Inside Edge Net, on TikTok, Twitter, IG, YouTube, and Facebook. It is so important that we continue to get this information out to you. Because you guys continue to tune in and show us the love. So we're going to continue to be that source for sports, entertainment, mental health, and everything in between. And we appreciate you just going on this journey with us as we continue to grow. So make sure to follow, subscribe, Inside Edge Net. Tell a friend, tell a family member. Bring us up. Hey, what? Valentine's Day, you're not necessarily going to see the family. You're probably going to just see your significant others. But St. Patrick's Day is coming around the corner. So by then, obviously, we're going to have a bigger audience. And by then, you're going to have to let your family know, like, hey, get on this before it's too late. But don't shy away from it right now. We got a few days left in January. You can start telling a friend, telling the fam. So, Chad, any final thoughts for our Inside Edge Network audience out here before we put a bow on this edition of Inside Edge Primetime?
Just stay warm and stay safe. And something that you mentioned, mental health. I mean, there's a lot going on in the world. Sometimes this time of year could just be tough in general. it's cold, it's frozen outside. You kind of get cabin fever. You get stuck inside. It can mess with you a little bit. Find a way to just find something that you enjoy. Well, I don't care if it's a nap. Play some video games. Play a board game. Paint something. I don't know. I mean, just try to find something. I would say take a walk in nature, but that's out of the question right now. It's a little cold. But find something that you enjoy that kind of helps you just get back to your center, your place of peace, your happy place. It's important, man. Self-care is so important. I love Papa Moon's message. I love it. Just, everything. Mental health is so important. Sometimes as guys, we forget about that, right? We're worried about, putting the family or putting whatever on our backs and carrying all the weight. Listen, my wife carries plenty of weight in this family. She's amazing. She supports me in all that I do. That makes it a little bit easier for me to feel that. But yeah, I mean, I get stressed. I get worried about things. I suffer from anxiety, right? Like everybody does. Not everybody, but a lot of people do. It's okay to stop and take care of yourself and just do the thing that, like I said, gets you back to your center, your place of peace. And sometimes you just have to take a quick reset to keep dealing with everything life doesn't stop coming at you. So sometimes you got to take a quick break. Remember to take that break. Be safe, be sound, stay warm, all those things.
Absolutely. I love it, Chad. I love it. I appreciate you. And I appreciate all of you out there for tuning in here. Like I said, Chad and I were just getting started here at Inside Edge Primetime. Probably if you're here on this Thursday, you're like, where's Thursday Topics? Well, here it is. We have a new name. We have an official name, Inside Edge Primetime with Eli Moon and Chad Bryan. We will have special guests all along the way from Inside Edge Network and, like I said, across the board. But Chad, I appreciate you, my bro. It's been a great day, a great time, a great week. And we got one more day of Inside Edge Primetime with yourself and I, breaking down a lot of stuff. And I can't wait to hear those coaches with better playoff records than Bill Belichick.
Some of granted, small sample size for some of them, but some of the names you're going to go, what?
Oh my goodness. Well, we'll all hear about it tomorrow here on Inside Edge Primetime. Thank you again, everybody out there. Inside Edge Net and all the socials. Go ahead, follow, subscribe. And until tomorrow, that is Chad Bryan. To my right, your left, I am Eli Moon. This is Inside Edge Primetime here on the Inside Edge Network. And until tomorrow, stay safe, stay warm, and stay blessed. We'll see you guys on that Friday. Let's start this weekend off strong. See ya.